Hi there, smart driver. Hi there, smart driver. Talking to you about defensive driving strategies, habits, and techniques that you can put in place to keep yourself safe and prevent being involved in a crash. A few people are here already. Marion is here, and other people are showing up. If you're just tuning in, let us know where you're tuning in from, what class of license you're going for, and definitely what we can help you out with to become a safer, smarter driver. Elevator fan tuning in from Monticello, Indiana. Hello, my friend. And Sean tuning in from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Hello, everyone. And it is beginning to be winter time. We had a good frost here this morning. Lots of frost on the roofs. So it is going to be slippery. We are going to get the proverbial black ice on the roadways, particularly in the morning, particularly if there is a lot of moisture in the air overnight and then it freezes, you are going to get ice on the roadways in the morning. And we don't call it black ice because there's no such thing as black ice. However, the places that you are going to find ice in the morning, bridges and overpasses, high and low elevations, any place the roadway lies in shadow. One more I'm missing. Anytime the roadway runs past a body of water, a river, a lake, a pond, or whatnot, the air moisture picks up the water, drops it on the roadway, and then lastly, bridges and overpasses, high, low elevations, any place the roadway lies in shadow, cliff, a building, bridge, or those types of things, and then anywhere near the roadway goes near a body of water. So that's where you're going to find ice on the roadways, and it's most of the time going to be in the morning, and it's going to be on roadways that don't have a great deal of traffic, because the more traffic you have, the clearer the roadways are going to be. Bricks for Wheels, Corey is the moderator, does an excellent job of getting up the videos I suggest you have a look at for more information on the questions you ask. And Elevator fans, say hi to your mom for me. That's always nice that she says hi. I had another vehicle come halfway into my lane on a curve. I had to go off the road a little bit to avoid a crash. Excellent. We're always glad when you avoid the crash and take it as a lesson learning. Yeah, and the other thing is you don't want to track another vehicle. You don't want to be beside another vehicle, as you said, going around a curve there. You want to try and stagger so that you're either behind or in front of that vehicle. That might help you out in terms of defensive driving. Artie, tuning in from beautiful Arizona. Where are you in Arizona, my friend? I've been to Phoenix a few times. Not Phoenix. Tucson. I've been to Tucson a few times. Love Tucson. Absolutely love it. It is such a different part of the world in terms of prickly pears. Not prickly pears. Prickly pears, saguaro cacti. I can't say it correctly. Yeah, just absolutely love that part of the world. HS, how are you? Buria, turning in from Iraq. Awesome. How are you there in Iraq? Elevator fan, the other vehicle was coming at me. Oh, okay, so they were coming from the other place. So, Artie, you're in Phoenix. Yes, another lovely part of the world. And the Grand Canyon is also in northern Arizona, for those of you who may or may not know that. If you get a chance to get down to that part of the world, the southwest United States, Nevada, Arizona. What else is down there? New Mexico is down there. Parts of Colorado, but not really. So there we go. So yes, southwest United States, if you get an opportunity to go there, it is a different part of the world. It's just, the vegetation is just awesome and incredible, and there's mountains and hikes and all kinds of really awesome stuff down there. They don't deal with winter. However, they do have a higher crash rate than those states that do get winter, and this is one of the myths that I try to overcome. However, it doesn't matter what I say. The statistics say people are convinced that driving in the wintertime is more dangerous than swimming in shark-infested waters and all kinds of other crazy things. So, Elevator fan, Texas is in the southwest United States. Yes, it is. Parts of southwest Texas and west Texas. I had a friend years ago who got a job in Odessa, Texas, and I talked to her after a few months of living there, and she said, Odessa, Texas, she said, West Texas it's a different part of the world. It's a different part of the world, so there you go. Paul, my friend, exercising space management is one of the ways not to make contact with another vehicle. Absolutely. Minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles. The one place that you can control space is in front of your vehicle. You can always control space in front of your vehicle. And when I say this to people, they come back to me and they say, well, if I leave space in front of my vehicle, other people are going to cut in. I'm not going to get anywhere, and there's no point doing that. And that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Yes. Every now and again, somebody's going to cut in front of you. But for the most part, people are not going to cut in front of you. And if they do, they're going faster than you. Just let them go and have their crash somewhere else and then reclaim your space in front. Space in front with situational awareness is going to save your life. And as I put the video up yesterday, the video short of the truck driver that did have a 3 to 4 second following distance and did prevent being in a crash on the interstate, because driving down the interstate had a 3 second following distance. Now 4 to 5 seconds would have been better, but they did have the 3 second following distance, and the blue van decided that it was going to get off on the exit, and it just the last minute and sideswiped a Jeep, and the Jeep lost control and ended up going the wrong way down the interstate in front of the tractor trailer. But the truck driver managed space well, had good situational awareness, and managed to get the truck stopped before being involved in a crash. And Corey will put that video up for you. We have a lot of snow in northern Arizona. Okay, I did not know that. See, I learned something new. Evan, if there is a bus in front of you, you're in the rightmost lane. Look for bus stops ahead so you know when to change lanes. Yes, absolutely. Excuse me. Local city buses. Yes, know that they're going to stop. And most of the time, they're not going to stop on the downstream side of the intersection. They're going to stop on the upstream side of the intersection for purposes of safety. So know that if you have to move through an intersection on a driver's test, there's a good chance that the bus is going to stop on the other side of the intersection. You will need to preempt that and change lanes before you get to the intersection to keep yourself safe on the other side. Marion, I had a vehicle that was literally riding my bumper the other day so much I pulled to the side of the road and let him pass. He was nuts. I could have touched him. He was that close. Yeah, they do that, Marion. I don't know what it is about people that they feel that they need to be right on your bumper. They're not going to get there any faster. It's the same thing on the highway. One of the things that annoys me on the highway is people that are not able to keep a constant speed. And people tell me this all the time. Oh, I could keep a constant speed on the foot pedal. No, you can't. Just put it on cruise control and keep it at a constant speed and go up and down the highway. It just, they're up and they're down, and they're up and they're down, and they're up and down. And it's really annoying when you get stuck behind them and you can't get around them to pass them. And there are so many people, I get out on the highway, I put it on cruise control, and I will pass them. They will go zinging past me, hell-bent for leather, and 4 kilometers up the road, because I'm on cruise control, they'll have slowed down, and then I pass them again just by keeping a constant speed. So that's my pet peeve. Elevator fan, I keep my space in rush hour traffic and I keep moving every time because of that. Yes, indeed. Gigi, what is the reason for high occupancy vehicle lanes? Gigi, the reason for high occupancy vehicle lanes is two things. First, it's to facilitate traffic flow, and B, it's for purposes of quote unquote environmentalism, because we don't want single people in a single vehicle driving up and down the roadway. They're trying to encourage people to have more than 2 people, sometimes 3 people in the vehicle, to promote rideshare and to increase the efficiency of vehicles going up and down the roadway because of all of this, not carbon tax. I mean, we have carbon tax, carbon pollution because of motor vehicles and those types of things. I think the real problem is motor cars, because motor cars have all kinds of pollution controls on them. Small engines, especially 2-cycle weed whackers and those types of things. Those things are just environmental, they're terrible. They're absolutely awful things on the, but there aren't any environmental controls on those. All right. Excellent. Okay. Why do drivers tailgate? I appreciate your wise words. Thanks. Ann from Michigan. Paul, why do people tailgate? People tailgate because they're in a hurry, and it is a form of communication within driving, within the realm of social driving. And you've heard me talk about social driving before. Social driving is the way that people drive after they get their driver's license, and they get minimal training. So when people get their driver's license, they do everything right. They maintain their following distance. They stop in traffic 1 vehicle length. All those skills and abilities that they learn when they get their driver's license. But after they get their driver's license, when they're between 16 and 20 years old, they're never required after that to do any sort of professional development training. And because they don't do any upgrading in their training after they get their driver's license, drivers do what other drivers on the roadway do. They participate in social driving. They speed. They follow too close. They stop too close in traffic. They don't come to a complete stop at stop sign intersections. They talk on their cell phones. They do what everybody else is doing. They just follow along with the herd. And they never question that they are following too close. And I was guilty of this before I became a driving instructor and started taking traffic safety courses and whatnot. People follow too close because of a couple of things. First of all, they think that they're in control of their vehicle, and they think that they're going to be able to react in time to prevent being involved in a crash, not realizing that rear end crashes are the #1 crash in North America. The second thing that they're doing when they're tailgating you is they're indicating that they want to go faster than you and telling you in no uncertain terms that you are in their way. That's why they tailgate, because they think they're going to get to where they're going faster, when the reality is they're not going to get to where they're going any faster. They might save 30 seconds, but really risking being involved in a crash, is that worth 30 seconds? It's really not. Gigi, I was in a vehicle with 5 of us on the freeway, but the guy was still in the lane where the other cars were. Gigi, I don't quite understand what you're saying there. Maybe you could reword that for me. Elevator fan, if everyone kept their space in front, there wouldn't be phantom traffic jams. Elevator fan, you're absolutely right. And if you want to experience phantom traffic jams, try and drive on the 401 highway, the freeway, from Toronto, Ontario to Montreal, Quebec. You will experience phantom traffic jam after phantom traffic jam after phantom traffic jam, because you get the trucks out there, and the trucks are all governed at 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles an hour, and they're trying to pass the truck in front of them that's going 3 miles an hour slower than them. They get out into that left lane where it's only 2 lanes of traffic, and they slow everything down behind them, and everybody's tailgating. They're following too close. One person slows down a little bit for the truck, the next person slows down a little bit more, and the next person slows down a little bit more, and by the time you get back 20 vehicles, the entire freeway comes to a stop. And it's exactly what Elevator Fan is saying about phantom traffic jams. And maintaining space in front could potentially eliminate these phantom traffic jams. And there are videos on YouTube here where they do that. They get a series of cars, they put them in a big circle, and they get them to follow each other at a close distance, and they just eventually they all come to a stop. This is a real phenomenon on freeways. Mary and I laughed at the guy that overtook me, and he was stopped at the same traffic light that I got stopped at, so he didn't win any time with his goofy behavior. Absolutely, Marion. They're not going to get any farther ahead of you, especially in city traffic. Layla, hello, my friend. Paul, your advice on the 401 that is bumper to bumper even on Sunday night. Yes, if it's bumper to bumper, Paul, then you just maintain your space in front. And when it's slow, never get closer than 1 vehicle length to the vehicle in front of you. Always be able to see the tires of the vehicle in front of you making clear contact with the road surface. That is going to keep you safe when you are in bumper to bumper traffic on the roadway. Gigi, I meant that 5 of us were in the car, but the guy refused to drive in the HOV lane. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. So you had the correct number of people in the vehicle that you were able to drive in the high occupancy vehicle lane, but the person wouldn't drive there, which, I don't know, doesn't make any sense to me. If I got enough people in the car, I'm in the HOV lane, because generally there isn't a great deal of traffic in that lane. And usually it's moving a lot faster than other traffic on the highway and whatnot. And I know that there are people who will get mannequins and blow up dolls and those types of things and put them in the passenger seat so that they can drive in the HOV lane. That has happened. So people can do that so they can move faster and try and beat the traffic rush and whatnot. So it does happen. Defensive driving, that's what we're talking about. We've already talked about with many of the smart drivers who are regulars here on the live stream about keeping space in front. First and foremost, 3 to 4 second following, you want 2 to 4 second following distance in a passenger vehicle is ideal. If you can maintain a 2 to 4 second following distance at all times when you're driving in the city, when you're driving out on the highways, you are going to exponentially reduce the risk of being involved in a crash, because maintaining that following distance in front gives you time to work. It gives you time to read traffic patterns and predict the actions of individual road users. And that's one of the main components of the smarter defensive driving, in combination with ABS. Always be scanning. Shoulder check, shoulder check, shoulder check. Every time you change directions of the vehicle, shoulder check. You want to continually be scanning and have calm awareness where you are processing the information. You're not like crazy, oh my God, what's going on? And what's that person over there doing? And what's the bicycle doing? And what's the pedestrian doing up there? And oh my God. No, it's not like that when you're driving. When you first learn how to drive, it's a little bit like that, because there's just so much craziness going on. You're trying to figure out how to drive the vehicle and work the controls and figure out what traffic is doing and those types of things. No, you want calm awareness of just processing that information, figuring out what people are doing, and responding accordingly to what's going on in the driving environment. Because space buys you time, time buys you options, options prevent crashing. You want to move from being a retaliatory and a reactionary driver to being proactive and being predictable on the roadways. Space will allow you to do that. Because if you're reacting, there's going to come a time where you're not going to react fast enough to prevent being involved in a crash. Minimum safe distance. You always want minimum safe distance. So 3 to 4 second following distance in front, stopping back in traffic 1 vehicle length, and minimum 1 meter of space between your vehicle and a vulnerable road user. A kid on an e-scooter, a bicycle, pedestrians, those types of things. And the faster the speed, the more space you want between your vehicle and the vulnerable road users. And unfortunately, as I've said and I've predicted, within the next 5 years, with the advent of electric vehicles on our roadways, scooters, bicycles, those types of things, we are going to see an exponential increase in deaths amongst vulnerable road users. And I was watching a video the other day of European police, and they had confiscated an electric scooter. They were testing how fast this thing could go, and at one point the electric scooter topped out at 110 kilometers an hour. Just let that sink in for a minute. Most of these kids are on electric scooters, and some of these are capable of in excess of 100 kilometers an hour, 62 miles an hour on a little electric scooter. And, you know, most of them are just standing on it with no helmet, whatnot. So imagine the potential for unpredictability on the roadway when kids are riding these electric scooters. Not just kids, but adults as well, right? Because the other piece about this is, with inflation and the cost of a vehicle right now, I know because Tracy just bought a new vehicle, exorbitant cost for a new vehicle, in excess of $50,000. People can't afford to buy a vehicle. I mean, even used vehicles are exponential in cost. These electric bicycles and scooters and whatnot provide an alternative, affordable form of transportation, and many people who can't afford a car are going to simply they're going to opt for one of these electric vehicles because they're going to get them to where they need to go really quickly, and they don't like taking public transit, so they're going to ride an electric vehicle. But what's going to happen, the cost of this is the number of crashes that we're going to experience because of this. And it's not just with cars either. They're going to run into each other. The bicycles, the electric scooters, the one wheels, they're going to run into each other. And so we're going to see exponential traffic fatalities with this group of vulnerable road users on our roadways. Corey's put up the video for managing space in front. Thank you for that, Corey. Gigi, I always keep distance, but the vehicles behind me keep flashing their lights. But in Vancouver, the drivers get really angry at me for doing that. One of the things, Gigi, you're probably doing is you're probably not keeping up with traffic flow. And one of the other pieces of smarter defensive driving that I advocate for people, I can't say this, I can't tell you to do this, I do suggest that you keep up with traffic flow after getting your driver's license, because it makes you more predictable on the roadway. If you are doing the posted speed limit after getting your driver's license, you are being unpredictable and traffic is going to back up behind you. It's just a matter of course. It's just the way that it happens. Paul, this month the Ontario government is removing speed cameras because Doug Ford proclaims the units are cash grabs. And Paul, that is definitely one camp, one belief system about traffic cameras. And there's a police officer from Ontario who is on Twitter, and he is a firm believer in traffic cameras. And traffic cameras bring in a great deal of money, hundreds of millions of dollars for municipalities and other regions throughout North America. He's not wrong that they're a cash grab. I'm not convinced in any stretch of the imagination that they make our roadways safer, because there aren't any consequences. It's just a financial cost to people that get caught with speed cameras and traffic cameras and those types of things. On the other hand, red light cameras, I believe that there is some benefit to red light cameras, but I'm not so convinced in terms of speed cameras. If you're tuning in or you're watching on the replay, let me know. What is your feeling about speed cameras and red light cameras? And you can put them together, or you can separate them out in terms of red light cameras or speed cameras. Do you believe that they should be implemented and used by the government, or do you think that they're just a cash grab and that they shouldn't be allowed? GG, cost of living is through the roof, so people in buying affordable vehicles such as e-scooters and bicycles, so I understand that accidents will get much higher in time to come. Yes, indeed. Elevator, when I stop one vehicle length from the vehicle in front of me, the vehicle behind me will stop super close to me. Elevator fan, that's not my experience usually. I usually find that when I keep space in front and I stop back one vehicle length, the vehicle behind me will do the same thing. Other people will mimic you. It's kind of like when try this when you're talking to somebody. If you're talking and facing somebody, just cross your arms like this in front of your chest. If you cross your arms in front of you, you'll find that the person within 30 seconds or a minute or less, they too will cross their arms, because people will automatically kind of do whatever you're doing. And I've been kind of testing this in traffic, that people do the same thing as well. That if you're keeping space in front and you're not tailgating the person, or you're keeping space when you stop in traffic, people behind you will do the same thing as well. Speed cameras should be used in construction zones. Elevator fan, yes. That's one of the arguments about speed cameras, is that they only should be used in school zones, construction zones, near seniors residents and those types of things. So in different places where you need to control speed of vehicles and whatnot, then yes, that is definitely one aspect for the argument of the argument for using speed cameras. GG, it's hard to afford a vehicle because of inflation. Even bills is going up, especially in Vancouver. GG, you're not wrong. You are not wrong. The cost of insurance, the cost of maintaining a vehicle. I mean, you can tell that we're in inflation because the auto shops are crazy busy, because people are not replacing their vehicles. They're simply taking them in to getting them fixed because they can't afford to replace them for the cost of a new vehicle. Excuse me. So let me know your thoughts. If you're watching on the replay, you're watching now, your thoughts about speed cameras and red light cameras, and let me know what you think. And whether you're having difficulty as well, if you own a vehicle, whether you can afford the cost of a vehicle, whether it's a used vehicle or whether it's a new vehicle. All right, let's get over to the presentation here. We'll get through that. It's 10 or 12 minutes, and then we'll come back. We'll spend the remainder of the hour answering your questions about defensive driving, putting in place habits, strategies, and skills that will significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. So we're talking about smarter defensive driving, minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles on the roadway. Because as I say, if you are not near anything, it's less likely that you are going to hit something. So minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles on the roadway. And that minimum safe distance is a 3 to 4 second following distance when you're driving in a forward motion. It's 1 meter minimum between your vehicle and vulnerable road users, cyclists, motorcycle riders, pedestrians, kids on e-scooters, those types of things. And stopping back in traffic 1 vehicle length. And this is your strategy, your defensive posturing against being rear-ended when you are stopped in traffic. For those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s. I hauled freight between Ontario, Canada, and the United States. Drove buses for Greyhound and one of the regional bus lines in Australia when I was living there in the early 2000s. Became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997. That says 98, but it's incorrect. It was 1997. I became a licensed commercial driving instructor. Most of my teaching for driving has been big trucks, semi-trucks, buses, teaching logbooks, air brakes, everything that goes along with a CDL driver. And yes, CDL drivers, commercial drivers are held to a higher standard of care. So if you're going to take that on, becoming a bus driver or truck driver, know that you are held to a higher standard of care, because it's not just you need to look after, but you need to look after other people on the roadways. 2006, I graduated from the University of Melbourne in Australia with my doctorate in legal history, which is the study of policing, courts, and prisons. And my expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic. And if you want to know more about me, you can check out the complete autobiography over at the Smart Drive Test website. And 2015 started the online YouTube channel. It has been wildly more successful than I could have ever imagined. Couple of resources to have a look at. Have a look at the podcast for new drivers, defensive driving, specifically for new drivers who are at the highest risk of being involved in a crash in the first year of driving, because they're still trying to figure out the limitations and capabilities of the vehicle that they are driving. And I put a question up on the community tab a few days ago about what is the most common crash amongst new drivers, and it is single vehicle crashes. In other words, they fall asleep, they drive off the roadway, they're going too fast, they go around a corner, they lose control of the vehicle. Know that if you are a new driver, especially if you're driving at night and coming home late, that this is potentially what could happen. Okay, car and truck crashes, big semi-trucks running cars off the roadway at, guess what? Off ramps on interstates. So take particular note of on and off ramps on interstates to keep yourself safe when you're driving on those types of on those limited access highways. So what is defensive driving? Driving in a manner that allows you to make allowances and compensate for the errors of both yourself and other people on the roadway, because we all make mistakes when we're driving, and know that driving is a social activity. If you communicate effectively about what you're doing, and when I say communicate effectively, you are being proactive on the roadway. You're not like switching lanes and then one flash on the signal because, oh, that's what I need to do, but you're not, it's not doing anything. If you communicate effectively and signal before you move the vehicle, other people could potentially help you out. In addition to that, defensive driving, you're creating conditions that you can control what happens to you most of the time when you're driving in different environments. Because when you're driving, you are moving, and you move from one driving environment to another very quickly. For example, you can be in a suburb or residential area driving along, and then all of a sudden you get out onto a major road, you're into roundabouts, and you're into the downtown core of the city, and then within another 3 or 4 minutes you're into an industrial area and surrounded by big trucks on the roadways and those types of things. Space buys you time, time buys you options, options prevent crashes. Smarter defensive driving. Very few defensive driving models define what the problem is that you are facing. What are the habits, skills, and strategies that you're putting in place? What is the problem? The problem is social driving. It's the way that other people drive after they get their driver's license. We talked about this a little bit earlier. Following too close, stopping too close in traffic, not coming to a complete stop at stop sign intersections, eating, drinking while driving, talking on their cell phones. All kinds of things happen when people are driving, and driving is a social activity. You are getting along with other people, regardless of, the fact that they are in a metal box with rubber tires on it, right? We are still participating in a social activity. So the tools that you have in your Smarter Defensive Driving toolbox are space management, speed management, observation, and communication. This is what you're doing to keep yourself safe on the roadways and reduce the chances of you being involved in a traffic crash. Minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles on the roadway. not other vehicles, other road users, because if you're not near anything, you're not going to hit something. You can always manage the space in front of your vehicle. As we said, if somebody else cuts in, you just let off the throttle. They're going to be going faster than you anyway, so they're not going to be there very long. Let them go and have their crash somewhere else. Too close to other road users and fixed objects. You need to have 1 meter of space, 3 feet between your vehicle and other road users on the roadway. So this happens at crosswalks, and this is my pet peeve when I'm walking. We were coming home this afternoon after picking the kids up for school. Somebody comes down the crosswalk at the roundabout, and they're not looking to the left, and the person's coming from the left, and they got to the middle of the roundabout. Well, they're right across the crosswalk when they came to a stop, and they're like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. All right. There's some poor traffic engineering at the roundabout, no doubt. The crosswalk is far too close to the roundabout, but you need to be on high alert when you're coming into an intersection. And a roundabout is an intersection, and it is the place where you are most likely to encounter vulnerable road users when you're driving. Stopping back 1 vehicle length in traffic. There are several reasons for doing this. First and foremost, it is your defensive posturing against being rear-ended. If you change your mind or the vehicle in front of you breaks down, you can move out and around that vehicle without reversing. And being able to see the tires making clear contact with the vehicle works with any vehicle, passenger vehicles, trucks, buses, transit buses, whatever. Okay, it always works. For those of you in Europe and other places in the world where they mostly drive manual transmissions, if the car in front of you rolls back, it's not going to roll into you. And in my utopic world where I, just dream and traffic is wonderful, if everybody stayed back 1 vehicle length, the whole pack of cars could take off from the traffic light when the traffic light goes green together, and you would reduce traffic jams. You would facilitate traffic flow at the intersection. But I digress, and I dream about some weird things that other people probably don't. Out on the highways, out on the freeways, stay out of the clusters. And you can probably see that down here on the right. There's a cluster of vehicles here. Stay out of those clusters. Drive in the spaces between the clusters of vehicles. I know that this is not always a possibility, especially on highways and freeways. People jam up, and you can't get around them. You got to go through the cluster. But be careful, okay? Be prepared to back off. There was a video on social media a couple of weeks ago of a road rage incident, a truck driver with a passenger vehicle. And the passenger vehicle's brake checking him and do all kinds of things. If somebody's doing that to you in road rage, you need to disconnect, because sometimes we get emotionally involved, okay? Oh, I'm trying to think of something. It's a Bruce Lee movie. When we get angry on the roadway, because driving is emotional, and when we become emotional, it's a 4-year-old and 27 lizards they're at the helm of the ship, okay? Because we've become angry and our primal brain has taken over, and we are no longer thinking clearly or rationally about what we're doing. So if you are engaged in a road rage incident like this one, where the truck driver's like, oh, I'm right, the other person is brake checking me. If the other person is brake checking you and driving around you and trying to get in front of you, just pull off the road and stop. Just stop. Off the side of the road, okay? And on the right shoulder of the road, be predictable as you can. Don't stop in traffic, all right? Disengage to keep yourself safe. And on highways, freeways, drive in the spaces between the cars. Keep your 3 to 4 second following distance. Use cruise control, because that reduces one of your distractions when you're out on the roadway, because now you don't have to monitor your speed, because you know that it's on cruise control. You know what speed you're going. You're going to increase your fuel economy. You're going to reduce your stress and anxiety. You're going to be more relaxed, and you're going to reduce your chances of having a speeding ticket because you're on cruise control and you know how fast that you're going. Okay? And speed. By controlling speed, you can control space around your vehicle and keep yourself safe. Always have a buffer of space. Always have that minimum safe distance between your vehicle and traffic on the vehicle. Who's driving? If you are tailgating or somebody else is tailgating you, you don't have control of your vehicle anymore. You are now exponential risk of being involved in a crash or potentially a rear end crash, okay? Space management. And as I said, one of the goals, one of the transitions in the smarter defensive driving is that you want to move from being retaliatory and reactionary. It was what I was just talking about in terms of the road rage incident, where a driver feels that you did something wrong and they have to retaliate. They have to brake check you, get in front of you, slow down, give you the finger, tell you you're number one, those types of things. This is another reason why people tailgate you, because they think that you did something wrong and they need to communicate to you in no uncertain terms that you're an idiot and you don't have the first clue how to drive. This is what they're trying to communicate. And the position of the vehicle, the speed of the vehicle in relation to other things on the roadway communicates intent, and it communicates what people are doing, all right? And they're telling you that you are a dummy, you are driving too slow. And if you let the lizard and the 27 4-year-olds take over, what's going to happen is that the primal brain is now doing this, and the whole thing has descended, and it's this cat and mouse thing where it keeps getting ramped up until eventually it results in a traffic crash on the roadways. So you want to move to being proactive and predictable on the roadways when you're driving. Predict traffic patterns, and traffic patterns are going to change depending on the time of year. And this is why I advocate for new people not to postpone their driver's test until the spring, because there are fewer vehicles on the roadway in the winter time. There aren't camper vans. There's no motorcycles. There's the odd cyclist, but for the most part, there aren't cyclists on the roadway in the wintertime when you're driving. So it's easier to pass your driver's test in the wintertime. But take note of the different vehicles that are out there. And again, this comes back to truck driving, where truck drivers are always going at four-wheelers. People driving passenger vehicles are like, oh, the four-wheeler did this and the four-wheeler did that, whatnot. People driving passenger cars don't know anything about how to drive a bus. People driving passenger vehicles don't know anything about a semi-truck, its increased blind areas, those types of things. You can have community outreach education programs until the cows come home. You are never going to educate people in passenger vehicles about semi-trucks. They don't care, they don't know, they don't want to know. So it is up to the people driving the buses, the people driving the semi-trucks, to compensate for the errors of people driving passenger vehicles, because they don't know anything about the larger vehicle that you're driving. They don't care how heavy it is. They don't care how long it brakes and how much distance it takes for it to brake and those types of things. They don't care. They don't know. They don't care. They don't want to know. So if truck drivers keep saying, oh, the four-wheeler did this and the four-wheeler did that, no, you didn't do your job right, because they don't know anything about it, and you need to just go to the default that they have complete and utter ignorance. So, predict traffic patterns. Traffic patterns are going to change at different times of the year, and this is why you want to have that 3 to 4 second following distance in front, so that you can read traffic patterns and predict the actions of individual road users on the roadway. Springtime, you're going to have motorcycles. Summertime, you're going to have RV units, and in the wintertime, you're going to have snowmobiles on the roadways, especially depending on where you live in those types of places, especially if they have a lot of snow and whatnot. Interpret the actions of individual road users looking farther down the road, and this construction merge here tells you that there is a choke point, which means that 2 lanes go into 1 lane, and you are going to have a choke point. And do not engage in the zipper merge. It doesn't work. It will never work. It's one of those things that everybody has to do it or nobody does it. It doesn't work. Maintain your space, protect your space, have your minimum safe distance, move over as soon as you can, keep yourself safe, and do not merge at the choke point, because you have given up all your power and all your control. Merging at the choke point in a construction zone or any other place where there is a merge is the same thing as tailgating. It's that dangerous. Don't do it. Okay? Because you've given up all your power and you're hoping that the person in the lane, on the through lane, is going to create a space and let you in. And they're probably not going to let you in, because it's like, I already let somebody in. I'm nice, but I'm not letting more than one person in nice. So Happy days. All right, mapping intersections, tracking road users. MIT, not just a university in Boston, okay? Mapping intersections, tracking road users. More than 40% of crashes happen at intersections. And every one of these cautionary signs on this slide give you advanced information that you are approaching an intersection. Map intersections, track road users. And I was talking about in the introduction with the truck driver on the freeway, off-ramps, on-ramps are a type of intersection. When you are on the interstate, on the freeway, on the motorway, pay attention to where the on-ramps and off-ramps are, and pay attention to traffic getting off, moving lanes, merging, and those types of things. Because if you can maintain your space and figure out what individual road users are doing at the on-ramps and off-ramps, it'll keep you safe. Same thing with intersections. Map and track road users as you're approaching, figure out where they are, where they're going. Proceed with caution and continue to map and track those road users as you're proceeding through the intersection. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Skinner, hello my friend, how are you? Gigi, my friends had to pay $500 extra to repair his car. That's not very expensive for $500. I actually had the least cost recently on the buggy that I've paid in a long time in terms of repair costs. I think it was only $230. I had to have one of the radiator hoses replaced on it. 27 years old, some of the parts start to wear out, and the hose just rotted out. So we're talking about defensive driving, keeping yourself safe, 2 to 4 second following distance in front of your vehicle at all times. Minimum 2 seconds, okay? You don't want to get closer than that. And we've had questions here. I believe, who was it? Paul asked me about bumper-to-bumper traffic in Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Atlanta, Georgia. It doesn't matter where you get bumper-to-bumper traffic. When you're in a slowdown and bumper-to-bumper traffic, you always want to be able to see the tires of the vehicle in front, making clear contact with the roadway. You never want to be more than one vehicle length between you and the vehicle in front. Because when you're going slow and it's stop and go, and it's stop and go, and it's stop and go, and stop and go, and you're bored, and you're like, oh my God, the traffic just will not go. You get distracted. You start doing stuff in the car, and you're, I'll have a sandwich, I'll drink a coffee, and those types of things, and you get distracted. If you are closer than one vehicle length to the traffic in front of it, next thing you know, you've ran into the car in front of you because you were distracted. You didn't have that minimum safe distance between you and the vehicle in front, and now you're in a rear end crash. And I see this all the time on videos on social media now that we just have, a high percentage of vehicles that all have dash cams in them. So one vehicle length, and that will have that buffer of space so that you can get distracted in the vehicle and you won't drive into the vehicle in front of you. All right, so do that. Elevator fan, everyone does a zipper merge at a drive-through restaurant. Yes, elevator fan, they're also going 0.25 of a mile per hour. All right, that works when you're going slow at less than a walking pace. That works when you're going less than a walking speed, but when you're going faster out on the highways, don't do it. Gigi, what's the difference between an all-way stop sign and a four-way stop sign? Gigi, it's exactly the same. They're the same thing. So 3-way, 4-way, all-way, they're all the same. Okay, it just means that at every point of entry into the intersection, that traffic has to stop before they can proceed, and the same rules apply. If it's a 2-way stop at an intersection, only the minor road has to come to a stop before proceeding, and they have to give way to the traffic on the main road. So general right-of-way rules are major road over minor road, straight through traffic over turning traffic, right turning traffic over left turning traffic at 2-way stop sign intersections. And 2-way stop sign intersections are not the same as 4-way stop sign intersections. 4-way stop sign intersections where an all-way and 3-way is first vehicle to arrive is the first vehicle to go. At a 2-way stop sign, it's not the same. Okay? 2-way stop sign straight through over turning traffic, right turning traffic over left turning traffic. Know that for two-way stop signs. And Corey will put up the video for that. He's put up the video on four-way stop signs. Thank you for that. Skinner, excellent. That's awesome that you're doing well, my friend. So, awesome. So, space in front, 2 to 4 second following distance in a passenger vehicle. If you get into a bigger vehicle or you're towing a trailer, you need to now have 3 to 5 seconds of following distance. And following distance, the vehicle in front passes a fixed object like a sign, a fire hydrant, an intersection, something that's not moving along the side of the roadway. So the vehicle in front passes, you start counting. 1 watermelon, 2 watermelons, 3 watermelons, and you should be going past the same fixed object. 3 seconds of following distance is ideal. Stopping back in traffic 1 vehicle length so you can see the tires of the vehicle in front making clear contact with the roadway. That is defensive posturing against being rear-ended. ABS, always be scanning, shoulder checking when you're moving and changing directions of your vehicle. If you can put those 3 habits, if you can create those 3 habits when you're driving, you will exponentially be a better, smarter driver and significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a crash, because space buys you time, time buys you options, options prevent crashes. I cannot say that enough, and I continue to repeat that again and again and again. I'll probably have it tattooed on my forehead. I mean, it'd be pretty funny, but I have it tattooed on my forehead. So, as well, Smarter Defensive Driving course is available over at the Smart Drive Test website. You can go over there, pick that up, and you can do the course, and all this information in great detail is in that course on the Smarter Defensive Driving. And for those of you going for a driver's license, if you pick up past your driver's test first time, the Smarter Defensive Driving course is included in that package. So all that is available over at the Smart Drive Test website. Layla, which season is good to do bus road tests? Layla, as I say, wintertime. Don't postpone it until next summer, because you got all this crazy traffic on the roadways that you need to deal with. If you can do it in the wintertime, yes, it's going to be a little colder when you're doing your pre-trip inspection. I mean, actually now is probably the best time, because the cyclists and the e-scooters and those types of things are starting to go away, and it's not really that cold. But if you can do it in the wintertime, you can, dress up warm in ski clothes and snow pants and those types of things. You can go out and there's less traffic on the roadways. There's not as many cyclists. There's not as many motorcycle riders. There's fewer traffic because people just stay home. So I would encourage you, take your test for your bus in the wintertime. Corey's put up the Smarter Driver course package there. Definitely have a look at that. Check that out, especially if you're going for a driver's license. And as I said, to make you a safer, smarter driver, we include both the winter and defensive driving smart courses in that package. And you can pick it up for about $40 US over at the Smart Drive Test website. So definitely check that out. Have a look at that. Smarter Defensive Driving, ABS, shoulder checking, MIT, mapping intersection, tracking road users as you're approaching the intersection. So, for example, you're coming up to the intersection and you go past a cyclist or a kid on an e-scooter as you're going to the intersection. You get to the intersection, you have to slow down. You know, and you took note of the cyclist that you passed as you approach the intersection. You're going to make a right turn at the intersection. Now you're tracking that cyclist and you're stopping and slowing down as you're approaching the intersection, and you're waiting for that cyclist to go past. Here is a defensive driving advanced tip. Do not pass a cyclist. If you are coming up to the intersection and the cyclist is within half a block of the intersection and you are going to turn right at the intersection, do not go screaming past the cyclist, hammer on your brakes, and then stop and wait for the cyclist to go past you. Because I will tell you what's going to happen. If the cyclist has been riding for any more than 2 weeks, that cyclist is going to go, "You're a dumbass, and there is no way that I am passing you because you're sitting there with your brakes on and your signal on, and I'm thinking you're going to turn in front of me because you didn't see me in the first place because you were too dumb and you just went screaming past me up to the intersection." Just slow down behind the cyclist, stay behind the cyclist, let them go through the intersection, and then make your right-hand turn. Again, this comes back to being predictable on the roadways, because when you go screaming past that cyclist and then you slam on the brakes and sit there with your signal on, you're not being predictable. Because me as a professional cyclist, I do not trust you. I do not trust you. And I will stop and I will bang on your car and I will go. Just go. It's the same thing when I'm trying to cross an intersection, and it happens all the time in the suburbs here. I'm at the intersection, I'm timing it. There's a car coming, and I'm like, okay, they're gonna go, and then I can just cross the road. And then they stop, and they're like, go. If it is not a designated crosswalk, do not do that. Just go. Just go, because I don't trust you. I don't trust you to walk in front of you, because you're not at a controlled crosswalk, and I'm afraid that you're going to stop because you're being nice to me. I know you're being nice to me, and I that's awesome that you're being nice. But it is being unpredictable, and you're probably going to get rear-ended, and then the car is going to get driven into me, and I'm going to get squashed. And then, of course, because you got rear-ended and you're probably driving a Ford Pinto, the whole thing is going to explode into a fiery inferno, or you got Firestone tires on your car, and the whole thing is going to roll over in a big fiery inferno and crash into a tree, and we're all going to be dead. Okay? Just go. Just go. Don't stop for pedestrians unless it is at a designated crosswalk. It's my pet peeve. As you've probably realized, it is my pet peeve. It's the same thing when I'm riding my bicycle and somebody goes screaming past me half a block from the intersection, and then they stop and they hammer on the brakes. All right? Don't do it. Just slow down behind the cyclist, go slow, let them go in front, and then make your right-hand turn. Really, what are we saving? Like 10 seconds? Oh my God, I beat the cyclist, because I hate cyclists, because we have this war on our roadways where we hate cyclists, we hate kids on e-scooters, those types of things. Anyway, I digress. We are a long way from defensive driving. There's always a problem between drivers and cyclists. Yes, there are, Gigi, and it's not just cyclists, it's cyclists and pedestrians, and there's just a war. And I mean, you want to see the war, the war is truck drivers and four-wheelers, people driving passenger vehicles. You want to see that war? Oh my God, that is just enormous. And then, of course, truck drivers against cyclists, and then truck drivers against motorcycle riders. And the one the other day was the instant karma, where somebody in a car had done something to the motorcycle driver, and somebody caught it on dash cam at the intersection. The guy on the bicycle the guy on the motorcycle, big dressed Harley Davidson, drives around, kicks the side of the car, and then falls over on his motorcycle. And you're like, oh, that didn't go the way you planned at all, right? So there is battle lines are being drawn on our highways. Maybe that's what I should call the book. Battle lines are being drawn. Isn't that 4 Dead in Ohio? Battle lines are being drawn. Maybe not. Maybe it's a different rebel song from the Vietnam War and the Civil Rights Movement in the United States. But anyway, Lim, taking my driver's test tomorrow. Good luck, my friend, on your driver's test. Remember to breathe. I got to breathe here a little bit because, I got a little excited about all the traffic safety stuff and the stuff that is my pet peeve when people do stuff to me on the roadways and people walking and whatnot. So there you go. Okay. Marion, that's so true. I saw that. Gigi almost got hit by a car. It was almost a fight with us. Yes. And that happens as well. Data, love your channel and thank you for the great information. Data, you are most welcome, my friend. All right, so we're talking about smarter defensive driving, minimum safe distance between your vehicle and other vehicles on the roadway. Shoulder checking, shoulder checking, shoulder checking. And as we've said, technology is eroding people's abilities to drive well, and the cars are almost driving for us now. I mean, it's only a matter of time before we get to self-driving cars. I mean, they're coming within the next few decades. However, proximity sensors, backup cameras, blind spot detectors, all this observation technology is awesome. but it's just a backup to good driving skills. So do not come to rely on it, because you will get into trouble eventually, because it will let you down, and you do need to be observing. Always be scanning when you're driving. Icy Mads, just booked my G test for next month. I'm about to go through your videos for a refresher. That is awesome, my friend. And if you have any questions at all, we'll definitely help you get through your G license. Drop us a note down in the comments there, or on one of the videos, or just send me an email. We can definitely help you out, my friend. Gigi, I think that cyclists and drivers are always beefing, honestly, because they just can't get along. Yes, absolutely. And of course, we're in the I hate cars urban planning model right now, where we're just slamming in all these bicycle lanes and we're just taking up space on our roadways. And as I say, if you make roadways for everybody, you're not going to have roadways that will work for anybody. And I was learning the other day, I finally came to the conclusion that roundabouts that are being built, especially here in Western Canada, maybe not so much in Eastern Canada, but here in Western Canada, they're being used as both a roundabout and a traffic calming device. It just blows my mind. Traffic calming device is up there with words of the late 20th century. Man, child, play date, fur baby. Oh, those are words that just drive me crazy. And traffic calming devices. Oh, traffic calming devices. I feel like there should be like a little lullaby playing, or those types of things, when it's really not anything of what the word describes. Traffic calming device. So speed bumps, for example, in a suburb, it's a car coming up, braking as it comes to the speed bump, boom, over the speed bump, and then as it takes off, right? And there have been many people in suburbs who have speed bumps out in front of their house, and they've gone out and actually rented a skid steer or something and tore them up because they just create so much noise. You know, it's the same thing. Now they're putting these planters on the roadways and those types of things. So like it's like a slalom course for car drivers as they're moving through the intersection. There is nothing traffic calming about it. And we've built a new roundabout here in Vernon, and I've gone through it a few times, and I'm like, you know, the first few times I went through it, I'm like, what is wrong with this roundabout? Like, it's not facilitating traffic flow at all, which is what it's supposed to be. And of course, they're safer. They reduce urban noise pollution, those types of things. And then I finally realized that the circle is kind of cockeyed, and the entrances, instead of the entrances coming kind of straight in, the entrances are like this kind of zigzag into the roundabout. And so what I finally realized is they're using the roundabout as a traffic calming device. And they're trying to slow traffic down at the roundabout, which is the complete opposite of what a roundabout is designed for. It's supposed to facilitate traffic flow, not used as a traffic calming device. So that's what they've done. And it's like North American engineers have completely taken the idea of this beautiful roundabout, which facilitates traffic flow, increases traffic safety, and made it into a traffic calming device, which completely undermines the whole purpose of it. You might as well have just left the four-way stop in instead of putting in the roundabout. And I digress yet again. Elevator fan, Carmel, Indiana has the most roundabouts in the United States. Awesome. I got to come there. I got to see if they have done the same thing as Canadian engineers and made them into traffic calming devices, right? All right. Excellent, Mary. Well, I'm glad. I seem to be on it tonight. I don't know what's going on here, but maybe it's just, something's happening. Epic. Also for cyclists and motorcycles, extreme caution when on roads to be safe as cyclists use the barrier protected bike lanes. Yes, they do. And the other thing, Epic, exactly what you're talking about in terms of bicycle lanes, is that they're great on one street, and then you get on another street and there's no bicycle lane. So that makes cycling even more challenging, because on one street you have this great, awesome bicycle lane, but then on another street you don't. So what do you need to do? Artie, I'm 74 and I continue to learn every time I watch you. I want to continue being a safe driver. Thank you, Artie. You are most welcome, my friend. I'm so glad that we can help out, and thank you for sharing your story and tuning in from Arizona there. I think that is absolutely awesome, my friend. Elevator fan. Yes. Who knew that traffic safety could be funny? Because it is funny. Because it's hilarious. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Gigi, a lot of people who know listen to advice, but around the steering, there's something else. Yes. All right. Awesome. Okay. On that note of traffic calming devices, we'll leave it there for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for your great participation in the live stream. So happy that you were here. So glad that you are listening and loving traffic roundabouts, because I think they're awesome. Marion, how do you explain to a food-motivated cat that the time has changed and therefore the cat has to wait an extra hour? Marion, I don't know. I don't think that you explain anything to a cat. I generally do the kind of, I wean them kind of thing. I do I change 15 minutes and then I change 15 minutes and then and then I get to the hour kind of thing every week. But I don't know. I don't have a food motivated dog, so it doesn't really work for me. It's not really a big deal for me. But I've heard people that have, they're complaining about daylight savings and their pets and animals and those types of things. So yeah, I don't know. If somebody has a comment, or has some advice about how you explain that to a food motivated animal, leave a comment down in the comment section there. Thank you, everybody. Always, always a pleasure. Take care. Have a great night. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. All the best. Bye now.